Hey besties, it's Sabrina. Welcome in. It is time to talk about what we read in February. What we read? What I read. I don't know if you read what I read in February, but let's talk about what I read, and hopefully it's what you read too. So, you know what I just realized is that I had a microphone that I wanted to test out for this recording and see what we thought of it, if we liked the audio quality better or not, and I forgot to put it on. Maybe I should stop and do that right now and then come back. Okay, BRB. Okay, I have the microphone on. Fingers crossed that the audio goes well with this on and we can just see what we think of it. Okay, so like I said, it's time to talk about what was read in February by me, but hopefully by you too. I'm looking at the list and I'm realizing that I have a lot of high ratings here. I might be a little too generous with my stars, but that's okay, right? I mean, it's my own personal rating system, so it'll be okay. So these came out of my closet. I didn't really know what to do with them, so I just kind of put them in the corner of my room, and I am now using them to kind of like organize my physical books. So like this is not like a bookcase or a bookshelf tour, but just in general. So just like down here out of frame, I have new books that I've purchased. We won't talk about that right now. This is not a new book that I purchased, but it's like I purchased it recently. So it still like needs to be read. And so that's like this shelf and this shelf are like needs to be read. And then this shelf are needs to be read, but I plan to read them this month. Up here are the books that I read, the physical books that I read last month. And then just above will be my annual shelf. So it'll just be all the physical books that I've read in 2025 so that I can look at that at the end of the year. And then it'll like get recycled into the bookshelf that's in my office after that. Okay, let's get into it. So the first book that I read last month was V.E. Schwab's A Conjuring of Light. I have a whole video dedicated to this, so I won't go too deep into it. But y'all, it was a 5-star for me. It was incredible. It was everything that I needed to end this trilogy, and I loved every minute of it. I would read again. I'm not really going to get into rereading books because I have like a billion books that I want to read still. So maybe if I reach the end of the TBR universe, I will go back, and this would definitely be one of my rereads. The whole series would be. So this was a 5-star. If you want the full review, I'll link it up there if I can figure out how to do that. It's not my first rodeo on YouTube, but it's my first time being the editor. Previously, my husband and I had a channel together, and he did all the editing. I don't actually know how to do that, but maybe he'll teach me, and I'll link the video for this up there for you guys to see. So yes, first one, 5 stars, Conjuring of Light, V.E. Schwab. I almost got taken out just now. Then on my Kindle, I read The Paris Library. That was a book that I checked out from the library. It was really good. I like a good historical book. So this one was set during the war in Paris, and it was about the American Library. So I really liked this one. It gave me, the comfy cozies. It was in line with most other historical fictions that I like to read. It wasn't like the most incredible story ever, but I did like the way that it kind of looked at two different women in time and like telling the story in a certain way. I'm not trying to give spoilers, but I really enjoyed the story. I thought it was really well written. It was a good historical fiction novel. And I love any book that is about a library or another book or about words. It was a good, solid book. I gave it 4 stars. There was nothing incredibly wrong with it. It just wasn't incredibly amazing. So, 4 stars, right? For me, that's what a 4-star is. It was great. It just wasn't the end all be all. Then I listened to The Office of Historical Corrections. Hold my earbuds here, for all my audiobooks. I don't know. I feel like I should have something in my hands, and I don't have a book in my hand. So, The Office of Historical Corrections. I don't know what I was expecting when I started listening to it, but it just didn't live up to it for me. It was really hard to get into. It was really hard for me to like focus in on. And so I ended up rating it a 3-star. I don't know if it would have been a different experience had I read it instead of listened to it. I don't tend to have that problem. In fact, I tend to have like an incredibly amazing experience when I'm listening. And this just didn't do it for me. I don't really know what the issue was. I think it was well written, well put together. Just for me personally, it didn't do anything, unfortunately. But you guys should definitely still either read it or listen to it because, like I said, it was well written. It was even well narrated. I just didn't think it would. I guess it just wasn't like really like the type of genre for me. Maybe if that makes sense. I don't know. Then I read for book club. I read Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson, and I did annotate this. I'm not a huge annotator, but for book club, I felt like it was necessary to annotate so that we could have a really good discussion about it. Yes, I did color code my annotations and match it to the cover. And I will say that when I went to book club, the girlies were like, I see you, boo. And I was like, thanks for noticing. So this one for me was a really good read. I was into it. It did take me a little bit longer to read because I was annotating, but like I read part of it while I was on a work trip and I took all my annotations with me and I enjoyed the read. It's not something that I would have picked myself. So cover doesn't really do a lot for me. The title doesn't do a lot for me. And the description of it is not necessarily something that I would be drawn to if I was like looking at books on a shelf. However, this is why I'm in the Black Girls Book Club, right? Because I wanted this book club to stretch my imagination in terms of what I can and should be reading. And it's absolutely doing that because I totally enjoyed this book. In fact, I gave it 4 stars. So, it's up there. It was good. It did things for me. It's just not anything that I would have ever picked out. So I'm super glad that I'm in this book club. I had a blast annotating this and I can't wait to read our March read. So this one is a little bit about a woman who's from the islands and she moves to America through a string of long events. And then the book starts out by she died and her children are like now puzzling together parts of her life and figuring out quickly that they didn't know their mother. So there were parts of the story where I was like, girl, what? Are you serious? And in fact, one of my tabs is just, it's captioned Lord. Because I said that a couple of times. I was like, oh Lord, like what are you talking about? So this was a good book. I had fun reading it. I had fun annotating it. And I'm so glad Book Club picked this. You guys should definitely pick this up. And I actually can't wait to read her next book. I forgot what it's called. I'll put it right here. I forgot what it's called, but yeah, it's out now and I want to read that one too. The cover looks very similar, so I wouldn't have picked it up, but Book Club did it for me, y'all. So here we go. That was my second physical book for February. Then I read Tress of the Emerald Sea. You guys. Okay, so I know that Tress is not necessarily a true picture of Brandon Sanderson's writing. I get that. I know that like if I read Mistborn, it's not going to be as witty and funny as Tress was. But I had the best time ever reading Tress. I loved the world that it existed in, like kind of the unique take on the ocean. And, I love the pirates and the whole adventure of it. And I really loved the journey that Tress went on emotionally. Like I thought it was really nice without getting too sappy, and being like in your face about the lesson, but it was done in such a good way. The narrator, the perspective of the story was so well done. It was low-key funny. I was not expecting the book to be funny. I thought it was going to be a little more serious. And so I was pleasantly surprised by how freaking funny it was. And I, 10 out of 10 would read this again. I rated it 5 stars and I honestly would love to pick up a trophy of this book. I am going to hold off on doing that, but I really do want one. I don't think Brandon Sanderson is a limited edition special book kind of guy with sprayed edges, painted edges, anything like that. But I also have been thinking about bedazzling a book, which is like, apparently it was a trend like at the end of last year. I didn't hop on the trend bandwagon, but I literally saw a photo of one bedazzled book and I was like, why not me? Because why not me, besties? So I low-key almost want to get Trust of the Emerald Sea and bedazzle it as a trophy book. I don't know. That might be dumb, but we might see. I'm not sure. So I'm not going to buy it until I make any decisions, but I kind of want to. Anyway, 5 stars for me. Excellent. I am actually going to read more of the Secret Project books before I dive into the true, like, Cosmere books. I know that I want to read Elantris for sure. But I'm really glad that Tress actually turned me on to his writing, even though I know it's not going to be quite as funny, witty, you know? So I'm excited to read more of his books. After that, I stayed on my Kindle and I read one of the Amazon first reads. It's called The Fall Risk. I read this really quickly. It's a short story. It didn't take me very long to read it at all, but I just needed kind of like a palate cleanser. So I read that. I thought it was super cute. It was a cute little love story about this couple that's like stuck for a weekend. I mean, the premise of it is hysterical. Wouldn't really happen in real life, but I just thought it was super cute and I loved it. And for a short story, I thought it was wrapped up very well, very neatly, very nicely. It's my first Abby Jimenez anything. I've never read any of her books, so I definitely would be into reading her books in the future. I'm not a huge romance person. Usually it's like a romantasy or a historical fiction romance, but you know, I was into it. It was cute. It was a nice little like breezeway, and I think that I want to incorporate more short stories in the future into like just my reading, just to have like a little bit of break from like really long, intricate stories. It was nice to read that. What did I rate this? I gave it 4 stars because it was cute. It was good. She was lovely. I do have a little bit of beef with Fable because Fable doesn't recognize it as a book, and so I can't count it in my read count on Fable. So if anyone knows the people at Fable, can you tell them to get it together? I did request it, but they like are ignoring me, so it's fine. But anyway, I loved it. Thank you, Abby Jimenez, for that cute little Amazon first read short story. Okay, you guys. After that, I listened to Project Hail Mary. Okay, Project Hail Mary. I love a sci-fi almost as much as I love fantasy. Project Hail Mary has been on my list for a while, and everything that I read said that you have to listen to the audiobook. And I am here to tell you that you have to listen to the audiobook. It adds so much depth to the book. Like, I mean, the writing is good. The writing is great. It's incredible. But the audiobook, the narrator, no notes. Absolutely flawless. No notes whatsoever. I don't want to like give away anything, but there are, I mean, obviously he's in space, right? So there are noises in space that you could read about on a page, but to hear it, 10 out of 10. You guys, I love Project Hail Mary so much. My husband even listened to part of it with me when we were driving somewhere, and he loved it so much that I'm pretty sure he's gonna go back and start from the beginning because he like jumped in the middle of the book with me, and I made sure that I didn't spoil the ending for him. So when I was finishing it, I intentionally like put on my headphones and didn't listen to it out loud in front of him so that he can go back and have such a good time with the book. It was great. It was cute. It was lovely. It was wonderful. It was like gripping. Like I was on the edge of my seat sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, what? And oh my God. Yeah. Okay. This book got me. And the audiobook recommendation, top notch. Whoever decided that they should tell the world that we need to be listening to the audiobook of this, whoever hired this narrator, you guys, I can't even say enough about this book, okay? Just listen to it. Just do yourself a favor, listen to it. Needless to say, 5 out of 5. Actually, honestly, I would give Project Hail Mary, the audiobook, a 6 star. I said it. Yep. Then, for my last physical book of the month, I read Real by Kennedy Ryan. Listen, I'm not going to say a whole lot about this book right now. And the reason why is because I'm about to film another video on this book. And it's going to be its own review, kind of like how I did The Conjuring. Like, I want to highlight books that I freaking love on a frequent basis, on a regular basis on the channel. So instead of just including it in the monthly wrap up, like I'm going to be writing, videoing a love letter to Kennedy Ryan and Real. This book took me places, and I mean, you know, it's a little bit spicy, but it's not even the spice. The love story in it and the build up to the spice. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for the other video. But needless to say, 5 stars. 5 stars. And she needs to hurry up with the follow-up book, because all I want to do is read Kennedy Ryan, okay? 5 freaking stars for this. It was incredible. Stay tuned for the love letter to Kennedy Ryan and Real. That's coming out in a couple of videos. Yeah. And then the last book that I read was on my Kindle. I read The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. It's actually, even though I own a couple of her books, The Familiar is the first one of hers that I've read. And I read it on Kindle. I don't have that one. I have Six of Crows and I have Shadow and Bone, but I don't have The Familiar, which is the first one that I chose to read. I liked it. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was good. I thought it was well written. I was not satisfied with how far the story traveled. Like, I felt like I wanted a little bit more out of the story. And the conclusion, the ending, I think it was intentional, but it just didn't wrap up for me. And I was left wanting more. So I liked it, but I wanted more. I like the writing style, so I'm definitely going to be diving into more Leigh Bardugo. I definitely want to feel her writing a little bit more. We watched the first season of Shadow and Bone, but then the second season took so long to come out that I forgot everything that happened in the first season, and I just couldn't get into it. I didn't remember who the characters were, what their point was, what they were doing, so never watched it. And I probably won't at this point, because I remember Shadow and Bone being like really deep, like intricate, like you have to pay attention in order to like really know what's going on. But it makes me think that I will enjoy reading the book, because I'll be forced to pay attention, and I can roll right into the next one, right? I don't have to wait for Netflix to produce season 2. So I rated this one a 3-star, but it's no shade on the author. I want to read more of her work. I just think that this story just didn't do it for me. So I gave it a 3-star. But I mean, you know, I read 9 books. One of them was a short story, but I read 9 books in February, and we had a pretty significant number of 5 and 4 stars and only 2 3-stars. So I think we were doing really good. I didn't DNF anything. So that was a really good month for me reading wise. I'm like super stoked with the reads that I got in. I had a good time. And I'm a good times reader, so that's what's most important, right? I am into my March reads already, and I'm already looking forward to my April reads. So like, we are rolling full steam ahead. Like, I want to quit my job and just read books all day is how I'm feeling. So like, let's see how many books I end up reading in March. I was surprised that I read 9 books in February, but pleasantly surprised. All in all, 9 books in February. My 5 stars were A Conjuring of Light, Tress of the Emerald Sea, Project Hail Mary, and Real. And I don't think I could have asked for too much better. It's nice to, you know, mix it up between the star levels. Not everything has to be super deep, the most amazing thing ever. Because then who would believe me if I said that every book was a 5-star, right? Let me know if you guys read any of the books, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Hopefully, like I said, the microphone has panned out and the audio is not terrible. I would hate to have to re-record this whole video. Or awkwardly just play the video and like have to deal with the audio, but we'll see what happens. So thanks for dropping by. And I guess I'm supposed to say like and subscribe if you like what you hear here. No, but seriously, like, subscribe, hit the little bell, and come on back, y'all, because I've got plenty more to talk about, including my love letter to Kennedy, which will be coming up soon. And I am so glad that you guys are here with me. So thanks for watching.